Hi everybody! Today I will be touching on an important topic for the AT and for backpacking in general, which is water and how to treat it. On the AT there are plenty of hikers who opt not to carry any water filter at all and just drink from streams that they judge to be clean enough to be safe water sources, but I think that the risk of giardia is too high to not take the time to filter or in some way treat your water. In general, thru-hikers on the AT have two methods of cleaning their water while they're out hiking, which are Aqua Mira drops and Sawyer water filters. The vast majority of people I saw who were filtering their water were using one of these two lightweight, convenient, and quick methods to clean their water, and I'll be talking about them both. Aqua Mira is a water treatment system consisting of two small bottles of chlorine dioxide solution that are each for an ounce each. They both treat about 30 gallons of water at the maximum. And basically what happens is you have a special cap that comes with the kit, and you put 8 drops of the solution into the dropper and 8 drops of the activator solution, and you let that mixture sit for 5 minutes, and it changes colors when it's ready to be added into the water. And then after 5 minutes you add it to a liter of water, and then the liter of water has to be shaken up, and then you wait about 15 minutes to be able to drink it from that point, although if the water is cold you have to wait about 30 minutes. The main advantage of Aqua Mira is that it is slightly faster than a Sawyer water filter. Instead of having to sit by a water source and push all the water through the bladder through the filter into your water bottle to be clean, you can just scoop water up from the water source, put the chemicals in it, and hike on. So it's a little faster. The other main advantage that I see with it is that unlike the Sawyer water filter, you don't have to worry about any kind of temperature sensitivity. So if it's cold, your Aqua Mira is still going to be functional, although Aqua Mira works slower on cold water, so you do have to wait 30 minutes after you put the drops in for really cold water for it to be fully functional. I believe another advantage is that it can handle smaller pathogens than a Sawyer can filter out, so that is a big advantage of it as well. And it is slightly lighter than the Sawyer filter plus bladder weight would be, but it's only a few ounces of difference. I tried Aqua Mira drops at the beginning of the trail, and while I found them convenient, there were several things I did not like about them. First, while Aqua Mira is advertised as improving water taste, I found that it gave clean water a kind of pool water smell and taste. It was pretty subtle, but it was still there, and I think after 6 months it would have annoyed me a little to have to drink pool smelling water every single time I wanted to drink water. Also, another disadvantage that Aqua Mira has versus Sawyer is that it doesn't actually filter out anything that's in the water. While the water sources on the AT are generally good, there are situations that arise where one water source is dirty because there's been rain recently or has a lot of floaties in it, and there's really nothing you can do with the Aqua Mira to filter out those impurities like you might get with your filter. So if you're going to use Aqua Mira drops, I would suggest bringing a rag of some kind that you're going to specifically use to clean out your water when you have some kind of impurity in it that you dislike. Third, one thing that I really did not like about Aqua Mira was that as you go along on the AT, you get used to trying to time the rate at which you're drinking water to run out when you get to the next water source. So frequently I would arrive at the next water source and I'd be practically out of water or completely out of water, and I'd have to wait 20 minutes to drink the water with the Aqua Mira drops in it, which I did not like because as the weather got hotter, it became harder and harder to resist drinking it before it was really ready to be drunk. So that, I think, is another major issue with the drops. In the end, I strongly preferred the Sawyer filter to Aquamira drops. The primary disadvantage of the Sawyer filter is that it is temperature sensitive. So especially if you are starting out in the early spring, this will be an issue for you because you need to, if the temperatures are going to be below freezing or if it's going to be below freezing overnight, you need to make sure that the Sawyer is inside your sleeping bag next to your body if it's nighttime, or even better, inside your outer garments right next to your body so that your body can warm it and keep it from freezing, because it will freeze. This happened with the Sawyer Mini that I started the trail with. The other thing is that you need to make sure that you are shaking out all the water out of the Sawyer, especially in those early months before you pack it, because it can also have water that freezes inside of it that will prevent it from functioning because you just didn't shake it out well enough. So be sure that you're shaking it out to empty it every time. The other thing that can be annoying about it is that the flow can slow down due to being clogged. So if you encounter a particularly dirty water source, for instance, there was one time where it was right after a rainstorm and the only water available to me was super muddy. So I used my Sawyer to filter some water and it worked pretty well, but the water ended up, all the gunk that got stuck inside the filter ended up almost ending the water filter's stream, and it had to be back flushed with the syringe that comes with the filter in order for it to function again. It can really slow down, and if you don't have your filter with you in your pack and access to clean water to back flush the filter, it can cause a problem with the speed at which you can get water. It can really slow down. So always carry that syringe with you, and also be careful with the syringe because it is a little delicate and it can break. So keep it somewhere high up in your pack so it won't. Sawyers are nice because they offer near instant access to clean water, and they filter out much of the stream debris along the AT streams, allowing you to experience cool, fresh water very quickly. I enjoyed this aspect of them. The other thing that they offer that's really nice is cost effectiveness. If you are able to take care of your filter and you don't have any issues with getting it too dirty or it freezing or anything like that, it can last for an extremely long time. The Mini is, I think, 100,000 gallons, and the Sawyer Squeeze is 1,000,000 gallons of capacity before it wears out. And the upfront investment is only about $20 for the Mini to $65 for the Squeeze if you're buying it at REI dollars. And I think you can get it for cheaper on Amazon. Personally, I highly recommend the Sawyer Squeeze. Although you are compromising the ability for the filter to fit on a water bottle, generally the Squeeze is just so much faster. I've used them both, and the Squeeze has such a larger flow capacity, I guess, that it's just much faster to filter water with it. So it's worth the extra investment if you ask me. So I'm actually going to do an unboxing of a new Sawyer Squeeze for you today. I was not paid to promote this product. It's just a product that I really like, and my roommate was happening to get a new one, so I decided to seize upon the opportunity to unbox it for you and show you what's inside. So I'm gonna open it up here. All right, so let me see. So my main quibble with Sawyer is these poor quality bags that come with the filters. The filters are very high quality, and generally you won't encounter very many issues with them, but these water bags will cause you endless grief. So I would just plan on replacing them as soon as you get the filter with a platypus bag. For one thing, they're only 1 liter capacity, while this is 32 ounces, and for another thing, they very easily fill up. For some reason, I think it's because maybe of how they're rolled or the material, but it's hard to inflate them. So you end up having to like put your lips to them and blow in, which I don't think is the best option when something is dirty, like the dirty water you're putting in here. So definitely the Platypus 2-liter bags inflate a lot easier than these bags. They're more durable. The first one that I used lasted maybe a week and then it broke, so they're not very durable, and they just hold twice the capacity, so you can filter more water at once. This is what the Platypus bladder that I recommend getting looks like. It is 2 liters, and I can just feel from the feel of it that it's a lot more durable than the one that comes included in the Sawyer kit. And this part of it, the front of it, which is where the Sawyer bladder broke for me when I initially used it with my mini, is just more durable. So this one has held up for a long time, and 2 liters is kind of a very ideal capacity for a bladder to have, because most of the time on the AT you'll be wanting to carry about 2 liters, maybe a little more depending on where you are, but this is a great option for filtering all the water you want in one bag without having to fill it up again. This is what the filter looks like when it's brand new. Since it's a squeeze, it is kind of one of the wider ones, and you see that you had to put this attachment on the top, and 2 come with it actually. There's one here as well. That allows you to drink directly through the filter. I never really did this. It just wasn't my personal preference, but some people do carry their filters like this, and they can drink directly from basically their water bladder when they are filling up, and they don't have to bother to put it in a water bottle like I did. So this is to enable you to hang your water bladder from something basically, and have it hanging down, and gravity can do the work of filtering your water for you. I personally have never done this, so I'm not super familiar with it, but I'm certain that this is what the piece is for, and I have seen people on the trail doing it this way, so it's possible to do it this way, just not my preference. Outside of the filter itself, this is going to be the most important part of your kit. It is the back flush syringe, so it will enable you to clean the filter when it gets dirty and thus continue using it. Basically, the process that you're going to have to go through to make sure that this is able to clean out your filter effectively is to fill it with clean water. Make sure that it's clean water so it doesn't compromise the integrity of the filter itself, and then kind of push it in to the filter. We found that they don't line up perfectly, but we're not sure if we're supposed to use a hose or something, but I just kind of push it in and then deploy the syringe, and a bunch of stuff will come out the back, a bunch of the dirt. And you may need to repeat this so that it is fully cleaned out of everything that can be gotten out of it. There's also a cap for your water bladder that comes with the kit. The Platypus that I would recommend that you order highly if you're going to get a Sawyer also comes with its own cap, but I recommend also getting this one because you'll probably at some point lose the water bladder cap, and you will need one in order to stop if you want to have anything in your filter or in the water bladder and not have it leaking out. You need to have a cap for it, so I highly recommend bringing an extra. Sawyers would also be useful for international travel. There's this attachment which will allow you to attach your Sawyer to the sink, and there's also an attachment that'll allow you to filter fluids from like a barrel. So both of those are options. I personally have not used either of them, but those are possibilities. And this can also be used if you are wanting to flush it while you're at a sink. You can use this to do so, and it does it pretty quickly. So that's another thing that you can do with it. My other main recommendation is bringing some kind of cup or bowl to collect water. There are many water sources on the AT that are kind of just a trickle, or in midsummer they dry up somewhat and they become kind of sparse, so there's not a lot of water moving quickly enough to get a bag under it. And so it is very helpful to have a cup or bowl to be able to collect the water as it falls and put it into your water bladder so that you can filter it. It comes in handy more than you realize. For instance, if you're in your tent and it's raining really hard and you don't want to get up to collect water, you can always get water by putting your cup or bowl outside and collecting rainwater. Overall, the AT spoils you with the availability of water sources for hikers. Perhaps it's one of the reasons why it's such a popular trail. Outside of mid-Atlantic states like Pennsylvania and New York, where water can get a little iffy sometimes and water sources can be a little unappealing when they are available, most of the places on the AT have clean, accessible water that tastes better than you would generally drink from the tap at your home. So it's really a great experience in terms of the quality of water that you'll get. All of that rain that you experience while on the trail that makes you so miserable when you're hiking pays off because you always have access to good water supplies. And for that reason, I would recommend carrying generally 2 to 3 liters of water at a maximum, filtering at a time, and then maybe consider drinking as much as you can while you're at the water source so that you don't have to carry as much, but you can have your thirst quenched before you start hiking again. For most sections of the AT, I carried about 2 liters, sometimes only 1 liter if I knew that streams were frequent for that day, but it really depended. As I mentioned, there are places where you'll have to do a little more planning, so just in the mid-Atlantic or wherever you are when it reaches midsummer, or if it's been a dry year, start thinking a little more about your water so that you don't have to get in a situation where you're camping for the night and you don't have any access to water for several miles, because that's a miserable situation to be in. You may not always love the water sources you're drinking from. I remember there was a place in Pennsylvania where I had to drink bright orange water that stayed orange even after filtering, but as long as you plan to carry 1 liter to 2 liters at a time, you learn to camel up and you are responsible about planning ahead a little in sections that have less abundant water, you will do very well, and water will never really be an issue for you. It won't ever even be a concern, which is really special and something that's really pleasant about the AT. So I hope that helps you out if you're wondering about hiking. To reiterate, this is my own personal opinion and not any kind of sponsored content. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful to you. If you have any thoughts on the topic of water on the AT, please leave a comment below and let me know what you think and what video ideas you would like to see in the near future. If you have any other hikes, I'd love to hear them as well. Have a nice day.